Hello friends, welcome to my Sakshi Coaching channel. Now in this video, I am going to read the chapter 16 in Biology NCERT, Digestion and Absorption. So let's start. Food is one of the basic requirements of all living organisms. The major components of our food are carbohydrates, proteins and fats. Vitamins and minerals are also required in small quantities. Food provides energy and organic materials for growth and repair of tissues. The water we take in plays an important role in metabolic processes and also prevents dehydration of body. Biomacromolecules in food cannot be utilized by our body in their original form. They have to be broken down and converted into simple substances in the digestive system. This process of conversion of complex food substances to simple absorbable forms is called digestion and is carried out by our digestive system by mechanical and biochemical methods. General organization of the human digestive system is shown in the figure 16.1. 16.1 Digestive system. The human digestive system consists of alimentary canal and associated glands. 16.1.1 Alimentary canal. The alimentary canal begins with the anterior opening, the mouth, and it opens out posteriorly through the anus. The mouth leads to the buccal cavity or oral cavity. The oral cavity has a number of the teeth and a muscular tongue. Each tooth is embedded in a socket of a jaw bone. This type of attachment is called thecodont. Majority of mammals, including human beings, forms two sets of teeth during their life. A set of temporary milk or deciduous teeth replaced by a set of permanent or adult teeth. This type of dentition is called diphyodont. An adult human has 32 permanent teeth which are of 4 different types heterodont dentition, namely incisors, canine, premolars and molars. Arrangement of the teeth in each half of the upper and the lower jaw in order I, C, P, M, M is represented by the dental formula which in human is 2123 upon 2123. The hard chewing surface of the teeth made up of enamel helps in the mastication of food. The tongue is freely movable muscular organ attached to the floor of the oral cavity by frenulum. The upper surface of the tongue has small projections called papillae, some of which bear taste buds. The oral cavity leads into a short pharynx which serves as a common passage for food and air. The esophagus and the trachea, windpipe, open into the pharynx. A cartilaginous flap called epiglottis prevents the entry of food into the glottis, opening of the windpipe during swallowing. The esophagus is a thin, long tube which extends posteriorly, passing through the neck, thorax and diaphragm and leads to a J-shaped back-like structure called stomach. A muscular sphincter gastroesophageal regulates the opening of the esophagus into the stomach. The stomach, located in the upper left portion of the abdominal cavity, has 3 major parts: a cardiac portion into which the esophagus opens, a fundic region and a pyloric region portion which opens into the first part of the small intestine. Small intestine is distinguishable into 3 regions: a U-shaped duodenum, a long coiled middle portion jejunum and a highly coiled ileum. The opening of the stomach into the duodenum is guarded by the pyloric sphincter. Ileum opens into the large intestine. It consists of cecum, colon and rectum. Cecum is a small blind sac which hosts some symbiotic microorganisms. A narrow finger-like tubular projection, the vermiform appendix, which is a vestigial organ, arises from the cecum. The cecum opens into the colon. The colon is divided into the 3 parts, an ascending, a transverse and a descending part. The descending part opens into the rectum, which opens out through the anus. The wall of alimentary canal from esophagus to rectum possesses 4 layers, namely serosa, muscularis, submucosa and mucosa. Serosa is the outermost layer and is made up of thin mesothelium, epithelium of visceral organs, with some connective tissues. Muscularis is formed by smooth muscles, usually arranged into an inner circular and outer longitudinal layer. An oblique muscle layer may be present in some regions. The submucosal layer is formed of loose connective tissues containing nerves, blood and lymph vessels. In duodenum, glands are also present in the submucosa. The innermost layer lining the lumen of the alimentary canal is the mucosa. This layer forms irregular folds, rugae, in the stomach and small finger-like foldings called villi in the small intestine. The cells lining the villi produce numerous microscopic projections called microvilli, giving a brush border appearance. These modifications increase the surface area enormously. Villi are supplied with a network of capillaries and a large lymph vessel called the lacteal. Mucosal epithelium has goblet cells which secrete the mucus which help in lubrication. Mucosa also forms glands in the stomach, gastric glands, and crypts in between the bases of villi in the intestine, crypts of Lieberkühn. All the four layers show modifications in different parts of the alimentary canal. 16.1.2 Digestive glands. The digestive glands associated with the alimentary canal include the salivary glands, the liver, and the pancreas. Saliva is mainly produced by the three pairs of salivary glands: the parotid cheek, the submaxillary or submandibular lower jaw, and sublingual below the tongue. These glands situated just outside the buccal cavity secrete salivary juice into buccal cavity. Liver is the largest gland of the body, weighing about 1.2 to 1.5 kg in an adult human. It is situated in the abdominal cavity just below the diaphragm and has two lobes. The hepatic lobules are the structural and the functional units of liver, containing hepatic cells arranged in the form of cords. Each lobule is covered by a thin connective tissue sheath called Gleason's capsule. The bile secreted by the hepatic cells passes through the hepatic ducts and is stored and concentrated in a thin muscular sac called the gallbladder. The duct of the gallbladder, cystic duct, along with the hepatic duct from the liver forms the common bile duct. The bile duct and a pancreatic duct open together into duodenum as the common hepatopancreatic duct, which is guarded by a sphincter called sphincter of Oddi. The pancreas is a compound, that is both exocrine and exocrine elongated organ situated between the limbs of the U-shaped duodenum. The exocrine portion secretes an alkaline pancreatic juice containing enzymes, and endocrine portion secrete hormones, insulin and glucagon. 16.2 Digestion of food. The process of digestion is accomplished by mechanical and chemical processes. The buccal cavity performs two major functions: mastication of food and facilitation of swallowing. The teeth and the tongue, with the help of the saliva, masticate and mix up the food thoroughly. Mucosa in saliva helps in lubricating and adhering the masticated food particles into a bolus. The bolus is then conveyed into the pharynx and then into the esophagus by swallowing or deglutition. The bolus further passes down through the esophagus by successive waves of muscular contraction called peristalsis. The gastroesophageal sphincter controls the passage of food into the stomach. The saliva secreted into the oral cavity contains electrolytes Na+, K+, Cl-, HCO-, and enzymes. Salivary amylase and lysozyme. The chemical process of digestion is initiated in the oral cavity by the hydrolytic action of the carbohydrate splitting enzyme, the salivary amylase. About 30% of the starch is hydrolyzed here by this enzyme, optimum pH 6.8, into a disaccharide maltose. Lysozyme present in saliva acts as an antibacterial agent that prevents infections. Starch in the presence of salivary amylase and pH 6.8 converted into the maltose. The mucosa of stomach has gastric glands. Gastric glands have three major types of the cells, namely mucous neck cells which secrete mucus, peptic or chief cells which secrete the proenzyme pepsinogen, and parietal or the oxyntic cells which secrete HCl and intrinsic factor essential for absorption of vitamin B12. The stomach stores the food for 4 to 5 hours. The food mixes thoroughly with the acidic gastric juice of the stomach by the churning movements of its muscular wall and is called the chyme. The proenzyme pepsinogen on exposure to the hydrochloric acid gets converted into the active enzyme pepsin, the proteolytic enzyme of the stomach. Pepsin converts proteins into proteases and peptones, peptides. The mucus and the bicarbonates present in the gastric juice play an important role in lubrication and protection of mucosal epithelium from exocoration by the highly concentrated hydrochloric acid. HCl provides the acidic pH, that is pH 1.8, optimal for pepsins. Renin is a proteolytic enzyme found in the gastric juice of infants, which helps in the digestion of milk or proteins. Small amounts of lipases are also secreted by gastric glands. Various types of movements are generated by the muscularis layer of small intestine. These movements help in through mixing up of the food with various secretions in the intestine and thereby facilitate digestion. The bile, pancreatic juice and intestinal juice are the secretions released into the small intestine. Pancreatic juice and bile are released through the hepatopancreatic duct. The pancreatic juice contains inactive enzyme trypsinogen, chymotrypsinogen, procarboxypeptidases, amylases, lipases, and nucleases. Trypsinogen is activated by an enzyme enterokinase secreted by the intestinal mucosa into active trypsin, which in turn activates the other enzymes in the pancreatic juice. The bile released into the duodenum contains bile pigments, bilirubin and biliverdin, bile salts, cholesterol and phospholipids, but no enzymes. Bile helps in emulsification of fats, that is breaking down of the fats into very small micelles. Bile also activates lipases. The intestinal mucosal epithelium has goblet cells which secrete mucus. The secretions of the brush border cells of the mucosa along with the secretions of the goblet cell constitute the intestinal juice or mucus or succus entericus. This juice contains a variety of enzymes like disaccharidases, example maltase, dipeptidases, lipases, nucleosidases, etc. The mucus along with the bicarbonates from the pancreas protects the intestinal mucosa from acid as well as provide an alkaline medium, that is pH 7.8 for enzymatic activities. Submucosal glands, that is Brunner's gland, also help in this. Proteins, proteases and peptones, partially hydrolyzed proteins in the chyme reaching the intestine are acted upon by the proteolytic enzymes of the pancreatic juice as given below. Proteins, peptones, proteases in the presence of trypsin or chymotrypsin or carboxypeptidases converted into dipeptides. Carbohydrates in the chyme are hydrolyzed by pancreatic amylase into disaccharides. Polysaccharides, that is starch, in the presence of amylase converted into the disaccharides. Fats are broken down by lipases with the help of bile into di and monoglycerides. Fats in the presence of lipases use diglycerides and monoglycerides. Nucleases in the pancreatic juice acts on the nucleic acids to form nucleotides and nucleosides. Nucleic acids in the presence of nucleases, nucleotides, and they are converted into the nucleosides. The enzymes in the succus entericus acts on the end products of the above reaction to form the respective simple absorbable forms. These final steps in the digestion occur very close to the mucosal epithelial cells of the intestine. Dipeptides in the presence of dipeptidases converted into amino acids. Maltose in the presence of maltase converted into glucose plus glucose. Lactose in the presence of lactase converted into glucose plus galactose. Sucrose in the presence of sucrase converted into glucose plus fructose. Nucleotides in the presence of nucleotidases converted into nucleosides, and these in the presence of nucleosidases converted into sugars plus bases. Di and monoglycerides in the presence of lipases converted into fatty acids plus glycerol. The breakdown of biomacromolecules mentioned above occur in a duodenum region of the small intestine. The simple substances thus formed are absorbed in the jejunum and ileum regions of the small intestine. The undigested and unabsorbed substances are passed on to the large intestine. No significant digestive activity occurs in the large intestine. The functions of large intestine are absorption of some water, minerals and certain drugs, secretion of mucus which help in adhering the waste undigested particles together and lubricating it for an easy passage. The undigested, unabsorbed substances called feces enters into the cecum of the large intestine through the ileocecal wall, which prevents the backflow of the fecal matter. It is temporarily stored in the rectum till defecation. The activities of the gastrointestinal tract are under the neural and the hormonal control for the proper coordination of different parts. The sight, smell, and or the presence of food in the oral cavity can stimulate the secretions of saliva. Gastric and intestinal secretions are also similarly stimulated by the neural signals. The muscular activities of different parts of the alimentary canal can also be moderated by neural mechanisms, both local and through the CNS. Hormonal control of the secretion of digestive juices is carried out by the local hormones produced by the gastric and the intestinal mucosa. 16.3 Absorption of digested products. Absorption is the process by which the end products of the digestion pass through the intestinal mucosa into the blood or stream. It is carried out by passive, active, or facilitated transport mechanisms. Small amounts of monosaccharides like glucose, amino acids, and some electrolytes like chloride ions are generally absorbed by simple diffusion. The passage of these substances into the blood depends upon the concentration gradients. However, some of the substances like fructose and some amino acids are absorbed with the help of the carrier ions like Na+. This mechanism is called facilitated transport. Transport of water depends upon the osmotic gradient. Active transport occurs against the concentration gradient and hence requires energy. Various nutrients like amino acids, monosaccharides like glucose, and electrolytes like Na plus are absorbed into the blood by this mechanism. Fatty acids and glycerol, being insoluble, cannot be absorbed into the blood. They are first incorporated into small droplets called micelles, which move into the intestinal mucosa. They are reformed into very small protein coated fat globules called the chylomicrons, which are transported into the lymph vessels lacteals in the villi. These lymph vessels ultimately release the absorbed substances into the bloodstream. Absorption of substances takes place in different parts of the alimentary canal like mouth, stomach, small intestine, and large intestine. However, maximum absorption occurs in the small intestine. A summary of absorption, sites of absorption, and substances absorbed is given in the table 16.1. Table 16.1 The summary of absorption in different parts of the digestive system. Mouth. Certain drugs coming in contact with the mucosa of mouth and lower side of the tongue are absorbed into the blood capillaries lining them. Stomach. Absorption of water, simple sugars, and alcohol, etc. takes place. Small intestine, principal organ for absorption of nutrients. The digestion is completed here and the final products of the digestion such as glucose, fructose, fatty acids, glycerol, and the amino acids are absorbed through the mucosa into the bloodstream and lymph. Large intestine, absorption of water, some minerals, and drugs takes place. The absorbed substances finally reach the tissues which utilize them for their activities. This process is called assimilation. The digestive waste solidifies into coherent feces in the rectum, initiate the neural reflex causing an urge or desire for its removal. The ejection of feces to the outside through the anal opening, defecation, is a voluntary process and is carried out by a mass peristaltic movement. 16.4 Disorders of digestive system. The inflammation of the intestinal tract is the most common element due to the bacterial or viral infections. The infections are also caused by the parasites of the intestine like tapeworm, roundworm, threadworm, hookworm, pinworm, etc. Jaundice. The liver is affected, skin and eyes turn yellow due to the deposit of bile pigments. Vomiting. It is the ejection of stomach contents through the mouth. This reflex action is controlled by the vomit center in the medulla. A feeling of nausea precedes vomiting. Diarrhea. The abnormal frequency of bowel movement and increased liquidity of the fecal discharge is known as diarrhea. It reduces the absorption of food. Constipation. In constipation, the feces are retained within the rectum as the bowel movements occur irregularly. Indigestion. In this condition, the food is not properly digested, leading to a feeling of fullness. The causes of indigestion are inadequate enzyme secretion, anxiety, food poisoning, overeating, and spicy food. Summary: the digestive system of a human consists of an alimentary canal and associated glands. The alimentary canal consists of mouth, buccal cavity, pharynx, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, rectum, and the anus. The accessory digestive glands include the salivary glands, the liver with gallbladder, and pancreas. Inside the mouth, the teeth masticates the food, and tongue tastes the food and manipulates it for the proper mastication by mixing with saliva. Saliva contains a starch digesting enzyme, salivary amylase, that digests the starch and converts it into maltose disaccharide. The food then passes into the pharynx and enters the esophagus in the form of bolus, which is further carried down through the esophagus by peristalsis into stomach. In stomach, mainly protein digestion takes place. Absorption of simple sugars, alcohol, and medicines also takes place in the stomach. The chyme of food enters into the duodenum portion of the small intestine and is acted on by the pancreatic juice, bile, and finally by the enzymes in the succus entericus, so that the digestion of the carbohydrates, proteins, and fats is completed. The food then enters into the jejunum and ileum portions of the small intestine. Carbohydrates are digested and converted into monosaccharides like glucose. Proteins are finally broken down into amino acids. The fats are converted to fatty acids and glycerol. The digested end products are absorbed into the body through the epithelial lining of the intestinal villi. The undigested food feces enters into the cecum of the large intestine through the ileocecal valve, which prevents the backflow of the fecal matter. Most of the water is absorbed in the large intestine. The undigested food becomes semi-solid in nature and then enters into the rectum, the anal canal, and is finally egested out through the anus. Chapter is completed. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel to get more videos. Thank you.